Had been brought to an end, police stormed the scene of a second siege 30 miles away in East Paris. But this one ended very differently, in tragedy. Explosions were heard clearly from the edge of the police cordon. A kosher supermarket in Porte de la Vincennes had become the focus of another huge security operation. A man armed with a Kalashnikov rifle had burst in and opened fire. He'd taken at least 6 hostages, maybe as many as 8, among them a woman and a 6-month-old baby. But 4 hours after it began, armed police went in. The gunman was killed, but tragically so too were 4 of the hostages. The others, freed unharmed, ran towards the armoured police van, a small child seen clearly in the arms of a man. But during the firefight, 2 police officers were also injured. Look at the silver car to the right of the screen. An officer can be seen going down, the other officer with him waving his arms in the air for help. A very different ending to the first siege. The second siege in the east of the capital began shortly after 1 p.m. As people were taking in the dramatic events that were unfolding north of the city, in Dammartin-en-Goële, it was hard to believe another attack was just about to unfold. The French authorities were facing a wave of coordinated attacks. Dozens of vans carrying police in combat gear raced through the streets of central Paris to Porte de la Vincennes. It soon emerged they were having to deal with another hostage crisis.
There was an African individual who had a Kalashnikov. He was reported as being at 23 Avenue Porte de Vincennes. He immediately went into the delicatessen and started shooting with his Kalashnikov.
This was the unremarkable building with its blue-tinted windows. Armed police gathering in the streets outside. Initially, it was thought there were 2 suspects involved in the second siege, 32-year-old Amadi Koulibaly and his partner Hayat Boumediene, who's 26. Police believe Koulibaly was also the gunman who shot dead Paris policewoman Clarissa Jean-Philippe the day before. Hours earlier, police confirmed that he was a known associate of the Charlie Hebdo killers, the Kouachi brothers. He was demanding freedom for the Kouachis and threatened to kill his hostages if the brothers died. Koulibaly died, but his partner was not in the deli. Police later found the body of another male, thought to be a second terrorist. Police locked down the area in Porte de la Vincennes. Schools were evacuated. Shops on the street were told to close. Diners in nearby restaurants hid under the tables. Armed police surrounded the supermarket. It would have been at its busiest at that time, as customers shopped ahead of the Sabbath. Few doubted that the 2-day hunt for the terrorists would conclude without more violence, but who would have anticipated such a bloody end? Martin Brunt, Sky News, Paris.